Hello, welcome to episode 43 of the Lorethrough. I am your host today, Gunch's Boots, playing as Sieghelm, the Foreman, and we are here in the Liurnia of the Lakes region, and we did the Ansel River well last time, but today we are going to that structure over there. It's attached to a divine tower, which is strange to me, still. The part of it looks like a stone outcropping, and the rest looks finely made. Very bizarre. The night sky sure is pretty. There's these nice beams of amber starlight. At least I assume that's what they are. They might be coming from the Erd tree, so whatever sort of light the Erd tree produces. But we're going to follow this path down here, and we're going to go about this fairly quickly. At least the getting to it part. We don't need to fight these schmucks. I might smack them on the way for funsies, though. Oh, that's satisfying. That's fun. That's good times. Goodbye. Flippin' dudes over. It's like flippin' pancakes. Except for I'm using a Zweihander. Okay, I think there's a beetle over here. Crystal bud. Where's the beetle? Funny thing, just outside... Oh, there he is. Shucks, come back here. There we find a level 3 Somberstone. So, just outside this area, there's a couple little teleporting wizards like we saw by E.G. Just the little sorcerers, the nobles who know one spell, and they do their little teleporting scheme. But here we are at the... Come on. Carian Study Hall. Right? That's the grace. Very nice blue carpet. Well, it's not nice anymore. It was nice at one point in time. We have a ghost. So the Carian's study hall, off-site part of the campus from the Carian Academy. Or, sorry, the Lucaria Academy. Sorry, Caria is its own faction. I need not get that mixed up. And let's talk to this ghost. O celestial globe, transmit to posterity the wisdom of the moon, and obscure forever the transgression of the princess. I didn't read that fast enough. The wisdom of the moon and stars, and obscure forever the transgression of the princess. So it seems that Rogier was somewhat correct that the lunar princess had something to do with the Knight of Black Knives. And here we have this astrolabe, this globe. And we have a pedestal. Something fits here. We'll have to come back here and put something on the pedestal. And here we have a relief of a tree, actually. Very odd. Especially since we know that the Academy of Rea Lucaria, the people of the Liurnia, the Lakes, and Carian Manor, they don't really worship the tree. They were allied with the tree at one point in time, but they don't worship it. And this seems like an old, sturdy structure. And it makes me think that the Carians repurposed this structure. I think this particular building was not actually manufactured, or it wasn't built by the Carians or by the Academy of Rea Lucaria. But given its architectural design, I'm more likely to believe it was made by the same people who might have made the Great Bridges, the Saint and Tree era, specifically. Whoever that saint... They have the saint statues that we saw at the Saint's Bridge here. They made this big old bridge that led to the Divine Tower that existed before Stormvale Castle, right? Heck, they might have actually built Stormvale Castle in a later era, but I think it's a part of that culture specifically, and it was repurposed. I think that this is a depiction of not an Erd tree, but the Great Tree that existed before the Erd tree. Now, I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, though. Nobody wants to think they're wrong. But I'm still thinking that this is a part of the older culture that worshipped the Great Tree, but it was before the Erd Tree that the Dynas prophet foretold of. If that makes any sense. And, oh, I should have just walked a little farther in. Look, Sword Saints everywhere. Same era as that statue. Darn. Gall darn. But here we have this going up. We have a water well down there we got to peek at. Exciting. Okay. So I'm going to do this. This. We're going to run this way. I'm going to run down here. Interesting, there's a body at the top of that archway plastered to it as if it's falling the wrong way due to gravity. Nothing to grab here, but just pointing it out. And don't you know, Prospector Miriam, dressed in much the same way Saluvis is, likes to hide. Every time you damage her too much, she flees. And we're gonna grab this bad boy. Carian Retaliation is a very good grab before this fight. I should probably grab a little bit of a faster weapon. And we got our frostbitten at least, which is a nice chunk of bonus damage. And here we find a Carian glintstone steps. A very nice place. Bodies hanging from rafters, huge chandeliers. And yet, it's filled with books. So this might have still been a place of learning, an academy, right? Of some kind before the sorcerers got their hands on it. They saw it and they're like, well, we already know what to do with this place. These Dark Souls 3 benches are here, which is kind of funny. For those of you wondering what I'm referring to, there was a place called the Cathedral of the Deep with lots of pews, really high-backed pews. I believe this is the same exact model. But yeah, there's these Sword Saint statues all around. And this seems like also a wellspring of some kind. So maybe it was a place not only of learning, but maybe they have like a water filtration system down below. Like, what's the point of that? I mean, it looks neat, don't get me wrong. It adds to the mystical flavor. Here we have little statues of the lady, the priestess. Though she's not pouring out libations. Well, actually, there it is. So we have these little cherubs here. We have the priestess lady, and there's jugs and books, so learning and blessings. You know, it mentions that the Erd Tree had blessings, right? We learned that from, like, the Blessed Dew Talisman. Yeah, it was once thought that the blessed sap of the Erd Tree would drip from its boughs forever, but that age of plenty swiftly came to a close, and with time the Erd Tree became more of an object of faith. And Erd Tree's favor, it is said that when the age of the Erd Tree began, such blessings were personally bestowed upon the recipients by Queen Marika herself. So it makes me wonder if somebody else poured out blessings before her, likely the priestesses we saw in the reliefs at the Chapel of Anticipation, right? I hope my train of thought is holding on here. Hopefully I'm not making too many leaps and bounds. This is a little bit of a different icon, though, than we're used to seeing. A little different. Perhaps this is from a different era altogether. Within the Saint Entry stratum. Yeah, and look at these bookcases. You can't even get to them. Do they have to magic the books around? What was the Sorcerer's Society like before the Academy of Ray Lucaria? We know that there's the astrologers, right? Vaguely, in the mountaintops, friends with the fire giants. But what about the Saint Tree, or the Saint, Sword Saints? Did they have sorceries? If so, what were they like? Were they simplistic? I am always so afraid. Afeared. Oh, come on. There we go. And that little spell as Prospector Miriam dies. He has a charge attack. That's cute. Will we get the magic downpour sorcery? We actually killed her early enough. Normally, she keeps teleporting around this loop over and over. But you're allowed at least a hit, and she was low enough health that that hit was enough. I guess we hit her more than that thanks to Carian retaliation on the shield. MVP for this area. Let's grab something that pokes, and pokes well. That's crazy. 326 AR at my level with this type of upgrade. That's good damage. That's a lot of health on a rat, though. Oh dear. I don't want to do any unnecessary rolling. Probably should have brought a shield, honestly. That would have been a great idea. But yeah, we have all these chandeliers hanging. We're finally up on the rafters. Am I on the wrong side of this ladder? I am, aren't I? What a mistake. Later, nerd. Oh, I probably have to kill that thing, don't I? Because if it's angry at me and I want to teleport away for the rest of the episode, it needs to be dead. Oh, we have another reversed body. Which is kind of our hint for what's going on here. Right? We've seen 2 bodies, at least so far, that I've bothered to point out. That were falling the wrong way. There we go. Deal with the rats. And grab this item. Alright, now we can look at the talisman and the sorcery. Now that I am satisfied. So this talisman is the mirror of one of my favorite talismans. A cerulean colored talisman patterned after an Erd tree seed. So it was made after the Erd tree did its initial bolting, a process previously thought impossible because of the everlasting nature of the Erd tree. The Erd tree was once perfect and eternal, and thus it was believed that Erd tree seeds could not exist. I should have kept reading the description. Well, we also found the immunizing horn charm last time. I didn't read it. But it's similar to the other horn charms, right? Budding horn, ancestral followers believe that the horns of a long-lived beast continue to bud like antlers over and over again until the beast one day becomes an ancestral spirit. Oh, having trouble speaking today. And the sorcery. I did not forget. I might have forgotten other things, but I did not forget this one. Magic downpour, here we are. One of the sorceries of the Carian royal family. Summons a mass of magic that fires projectiles over a wide area. This sorcery can be cast while in motion. Charging extends the duration. Said to have been taught by the Crystallians to mark the swearing of the old Concord. So there's some agreement between the Carian royal family and the Crystallians. Kinda interesting. Okay, I think that's it for us now. I took forever the first time I was here trying to figure out this puzzle. And, spoiler, you just can't do it now. You can do it later. You need a key item. It had something to do with that pedestal at the start, if you recall. Okay. But yeah, there's this weird upside-down stairwell, right? And banister. And there is a pressure plate in the middle there. We tried shooting that sucker with arrows and junk, hoping it would drop down. We thought we were being clever because, you know, it was a new Souls game. We didn't know what the tricks were. The tricks in the trade. It could have been anything. But yeah, okay, we're gonna make some progress today on the eastern part of Liurnia. I kept saying that, but then we keep doing like side dungeon and underground zone, and you probably don't believe a word I'm saying anymore as a result. That's fine. I don't know if I've used the Troll's Knight sword actually. We'll use that for a bit. Why not? I think I grabbed it in an episode and maybe swung it around once or twice. Maybe I slapped something and gawked at its AR. Because, yeah, it's got 401. It is a quality weapon, if I recall. Mostly leaning towards strength, but it does have an int requirement. There's a good handful of weapons like that in this game. This game seems to want you to invest 18 to 20 points in a casting stat, even if you are a martial build. Which is very funny to me. I don't know why I got off my horse for that part. That probably would have been easier with the horse, but oh well. So now we are in the up cliff. In this area. We're up the cliff, rather. Across this straightaway. There is a grace down here on the edge of the water about. But there's not really anything lore intensive in that area, so I'll probably grab it at some point off camera. And here we have a shack with a grace. Actually, here we have a painting of a bunch of tombstones and the Academy of Rea Lucaria, which looks like the backyard of the Carian Manor. Let's go do that painting actually really fast. We've got time, as long as I go on horseback and don't dawdle. We've got time. We'll make it work. Okay. But we will go quickly. So here we see many tombstones, and there's Rea Lucaria, so we need to find the set of tombstones that seem to match what we are looking at. And of course, you can always check the painting in your inventory once you've grabbed it. But the nice thing is that the chair ghostman appears when you're near. And we find the juvenile scholar, hat, robe, and a larval tear. Okay. And nothing got mad at us. Something was starting to get aware of us, but it didn't aggro, so we can teleport freely, thankfully. Saving time. And let's take a look at those items. Maybe try to speculate as to their purpose. Robe worn by young Academy scholars, the juveniles birthed anew by the amber egg of Queen Renala, the head of Rea Lucaria Academy. Yet their rebirth is not without imperfections, and thus do they repeat the process, eventually becoming utterly dependent upon it. Rebirth is as sleep to them, and with each awakening, memory fades into oblivion. That's kind of dismal. And the hat is much the same, but it is a handsome looking hat. I will put it on briefly. Kind of like a graduation cap, a little bit. That's probably what they were going for, but they rounded it a little bit. Kind of reminds me of the old sorcerer hat from Dark Souls, actually. Like it's a combination of the graduation cap and that one. Okay, so we continue along this, and we find a length of... well, a dirt path, rather. And here we have another knight, right? But he's not a Godric knight, and he's not a knight of the Cuckoo. He's a knight unlike anything we've seen. And if we look at his back there, he has that symbol, that incantation of the Erd Tree symbol. The really nice looking one. I think that might be the middle one, honestly. There's like three. There's a really wild looking one, a partially wild looking one, which would be that one, and then one that's just like a triangle for the Golden Order. I missed. Take a look at him. He's got a little Erd Tree thing on his hat there. He's got a shield bash. There we go. But yeah, he's definitely got the Erd Tree on that crest there. And that is Troll's Roar. Oh, out of stamina. Whew. There we go. That shouldn't have hurt me so much. Oh, he dropped an item. Oh, of course he drops an item. He always drops the same. Dragon Cult Prayer Book. Let's have a look-see. Prayer Book of the capital's ancient dragon cult. A text of the knight's faith that arose after the War of the Ancient Dragons. So we now know that there was a faith that was allowed to arise, or at least permitted enough to exist in the royal capital, about the ancient dragons, after a war with them. Interesting. Can be given to a learned cleric to gain access to the following incantations: Lightning Spear, Honed Bolt, and Electrify Armament. Kind of makes me sad that if you want Dex or Lightning as an infusion for your weapons, it's Dexterity based. If you want Lightning as spell casting, it is going to be found on you're going to have to be putting points into Faith. It used to be one and the same in like previous games, where Faith was both Lightning and well, yeah, Faith was just Lightning. It was never linked to Dexterity in the past. Then again, this is also the first of the Souls-like games that I'm aware of, besides Bloodborne. Bloodborne might have something. I'm not too familiar with that one. the regular mainline Souls games where they had elemental damages linked as an infusion to physical stats. So you could have fire with strength or lightning with dex. So that was still very nice of them. Probably take it too long to dawdle. Yeah, we do want to head over here. Yeah. So here we have the beast eye quivering. And we have this pond with a bunch of mounds of deathroot. And I'm going around it right now because I am looking for a summon sign that is in this area. We have a fellow who is more than willing to help us. There it is. I think it's always fascinating how it takes a moment to appear. But there it is. D. Hunter of the Dead. So now we have our little cadre of soldiers to help out. Oh, I can't horseback when D's here. But he's here to help us hunt the skeleton monster. So sad. Up on the hill where we came from, too. How rude. Oh man, even though I don't have a holy build, having a strength weapon with holy on it. For PvE, everyone should have Sacred Blade on something. Damage is so nice. And on a bonk. Put it on a blunt weapon. You won't regret it. Just huge chunks of damage. Poor thing. Doesn't stand a chance hardly. But hey, the undead need to go. We get Deathroot and the skeletal bandit ashes. How quaint. Let's take a look at those while we have. Alright, this is a spirit of a bandit who lives in death and will continue to rise again until properly finished off. After the night of the plot, Deathroot appeared in the lands between, and those who live in death soon followed. And look, all these skeletons growing with this root. And they seem to like places that have dead bodies buried, but aren't necessarily catacombs. Actually, never mind. Scratch that. There's plenty of catacombs that have the undead in them. Plenty. We couldn't get to that divine bridge, though. Sorry. That's a random stray thought. I'm looking at the Carian study hall, and it's attached. Great bridge again. There we go. Get our flasks back. But here we have this this area over here, which we will revisit in the future. But on this cliff, we see a little town beneath, and a grace, and we want to go there. So we're gonna find a way down. There it is. There are these tombstones over here that we can follow and fall down intentionally. I hate falling down these things. Most of them you can walk off of here. That's not true of all places, though. But walking off seems to be fairly... And it's called Jarburg when we get close enough. Okay. Come on, let me off my horse. There we go. Grab this item on the roof, because that's the way we want to fall down. If you fall down the other way, or just go down straight to the ground, you will miss this item. So we hop down. There's Grace over there. And Jar's here, but they're not hostile to us. Just like Alexander. Most of the other Jars we've seen, though, I think namely Stormvale Castle, they have been hostile to us. So let's talk to this one, since it gives us the prompt to do so.
Hello, Cos. What are you doing here? I didn't think anyone knew about this place. Except us Jars. Ah. Are you going to be the new potentate?
So he asks if we're going to be the new potentate, and with most options in this game, it's good to do the top one that advances it, whether or not it's negative or positive. The top option almost always seems to be advance the situation, and the other one is delay situation. Delay the happening in the conversation. It's kind of funny how that happens in this game.
Gosh, truly. That's wonderful news. It's not easy being potentate, though. I know. Show me your hands. It's just a little test, cuz. To see if you've got the right stuff.
So we hand him our hand. He takes a look at it, somehow, despite not having any visible eyes.
Your skin isn't so smooth, is it? You need slick, slidey hands to be potentate, you know? I'm sorry, cuz. But I don't think you've got what it takes. What a shame.
So he says we're not fit to be potentate, which makes sense. We are a hardened foreman, and who's been using strength and a smidge of intelligence to try to get by in this rough world. So he would not have silky smooth hands.
Don't look so glum, cuz. We can still chat. Potentate or not. Come back and visit me. When you can.
So he still likes us, and he wants us around. He sees something in us, and he has a pleading in his voice. He wants us to visit again. So even though we are not a potentate, which is something the village seems to need, he sees something in us that he in particular wants, right? Or that he sees as aspirational.
Don't look so glum. We can still chat. Come back and visit me.
Okay, so we can visit him several times throughout our playthrough, and he will have new dialogue for us. And this whole place is absolutely, I didn't mean to eat that, is littered with stuff to grab. So, we'll find Michaela's lily, poison blooms, row of fruit. We get a grace here so we don't have to worry about climbing down that dastardly cliff again. And if you head back here, behind Jarburg, there is a bunch of coffins, which makes me think that this wasn't always Jarburg. This might have been a human village. This is where they buried their dead, perhaps. I never really looked closely at the sides of these caskets, but they have little saints in the side of it, and these really low poly reliefs. They look like they're holding little books, maybe. It could be a little book. Hard to say. And it seems oddly ornate for a wood town. Maybe this was here a long while before Jarburg was actually made by the Jars, but the town looks like it has human proportions for the buildings. So like the Great Jar in the middle there wouldn't be able to go in any of these doors, but the little pots could probably get away with it. See, he's just way too big for these. There's not even a door on this side of the building. Yeah. For those doorways, he's just far too large. Come on, give me that. Give me that 100 rune. That's important. It's an important part of this playthrough. Alright. So we have lots of stuff to grab. So many things to grab. And in fact, it's great coming here because you don't just get a lot of crafting materials. We also see you get ritual pots. You get all sorts of pots here. I just don't remember where they all are exactly. We're free to grab everything. And almost all of it will respawn, save the really rare stuff like Trina lilies and probably Michaela lilies. So there we find a regular old cracked pot. I don't think... I think it was just a crafting material on that roof. I don't think there's... Is there another roof we need to get up onto? Doesn't appear so. Oh, never mind, there is. Okay. So you do want to get on one of the roofs. So we found 2 ritual pots and a cracked pot so far. I feel like there's one more. There it is. So 2 cracked pots, 2 ritual pots, and a living jar shard. And yeah, the pots are nice. They're just tending to the flowers here, and they're undisturbed, actually. So kind of funny. There's a gap here on the map, right? So you see the road split off, and then it breaks down and then the road continues, right? When the game first came out, and I don't remember for how many patches, but this gap wasn't here on the map. It showed it was connected. So people were trying to find a way to this town that they saw above, not noticing the little tombstones. And so they'd go all the way around to the front of the study hall entrance, go along the side, and then notice that this gap was here, and that the map was wrong. They eventually patched it, and they fixed the map to be more accurate to what the actual geography of the world was. But I always thought that was a funny little moment. Okay, well, that's got to be it for this episode. I don't have much else to talk about presently. Yeah, we went down there. Well, actually, we went over here and we slew the Mariner. So we'll just be continuing eastward next time, which I believe is episode 43. We're making good time recording episodes. I'm happy. I'm doing well, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye now. See ya.